bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom.
You know what's good. Welcome back to the Silo
Yo.
podcast. Have a good morning.
Have you checked out this new podcast studio space?
Whoa.
What? Doesn't it
Kinda
look so crisp?
crazy.
All major props to this dude.
Dude, we just stole a table, that's all.
Yeah. And chairs. And
Building.
some fruit snacks.
Dude, the fruit snacks, let me tell you.
Maybe a car. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Welcome to Silo Confessionals.
the new side show.
What else have you done this week that is bad?
I ate a cookie.
Dude, this is the new segment.
Bro,
Dude,
new
you're not allowed to
segment?
have cookies?
No.
Where's the cookie jar?
No one knows.
Okay,
It's hidden.
that's scary.
It is scary. But speaking about this week, holy cow, guys. It's
Go ahead.
summer already.
Bruh, it's summer. Yesterday
It's
was 90 something.
summer.
The day before that was 90 something.
Bro, the first heat wave of 2022, I was not ready for.
Mm.
It was like 90 plus degrees out. And I was driving a friend of mine to actually the first Silo Slam. Say what? And he was talking about, like, they originally lived in Florida.
Yeah.
And he was like, bro, this is nothing. He was like, he straight up looked me in the face and he was like, I have survived 125 degree heat, 100% humidity. Like, I was
count me out.
sticky. And I was like, bruh, really?
Yeah.
Really? This is too much for me.
Seriously.
Like, I'm a ginger. I'm already typically hot with my temperature and my hair. But this is too. I'm gonna be going my ultimate form soon if I get burned.
For real.
But it's summer. It's summer.
Dude,
Speaking of summer,
tell me.
isn't summer like especially coming out of high school? It's like summer.
Let's
we're gonna
go.
like High School Musical. I remember watching those, and you're trying to
Yeah.
emulate like exactly what those feelings are.
And then you get hit and you're like, I have to get a job.
Yeah, and you're like ah. But
So
then maybe
there-
like
so there
there'll be,
goes your
like,
good old days.
musically playing instruments with wherever you're at.
That's
like
true.
hitting pots and pans.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen those like redubs where they're like if High School Musical was like real sounds, like them making it, and it's just like
it's just
like,
nothing.
they're hitting the pots and pans, like there's some like scooting in the background. I'm
Oh,
like, so
geez.
that's reality.
That is reality.
It ruined my childhood, but like watching, I was like that makes sense. But
Jeez.
speaking of the specifics, we're kind of in like summer always gives you those like good old time vibes, especially like when you're coming out of high school
Yeah.
or when you graduate in college. You're kind of like reminiscent.
Mhm.
Like, whoa.
For my like generation or graduating year,
Mm.
it was the summer of 2016.
Mm.
I don't know if that resonates with
It was
everyone.
Old fart. No, I'm
But
joking.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like it's my my graduating class, maybe.
Yeah.
But it was like summer 16, bro. You're never gonna top that.
Nah,
ever.
it's-
You're never gonna top that. And I don't know. Do you have a different year that's like?
I don't know.
I
So,
feel like it's like Drake dropped his like best album.
that's
like,
true.
And everyone was like, "That's the summer album," and
Yeah.
and that's
Like,
what it.
2019,
made
there really wasn't much
Yeah.
going on. Like the big, I knew there was a huge like uptick for like 2020 because
Mm.
it was perfect vision, perfect summer, perfect year, and then COVID hit. So like 2019, I think has more of a special place because that was before everything
the last
changed.
normal year, the good old
That
days,
was
is
like-
literally
Yeah, it was
2019.
like apocalyptic kind of like scenario where
Yeah.
it's just like we're living our lives. This is great. 2020 hits, and then nobody ever is gonna
Ooh.
live it again.
nope.
Like that to me. Like that. There's more
So
of a weight.
19
Yeah.
is your year.
It was 19. Like years before that, I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I experienced 2019, I didn't feel it. Now looking
Mm.
back at it, I'm like,
Yeah, I get that.
that was because it
Mhm.
wasn't the same. Like everything that's changed now, I'll never like, as much as normal that we can get again. We're still gonna have those things.
Yeah, I get
and
that.
guess
I feel
that-
like it's like mid high school.
that's
like,
true.
I forget exactly when you graduated, but like obviously 19 and 16 are like what, we're like 2 or 3 years apart.
Yeah,
Something like that. So like my 16 is technically you're like 19
yeah,
almost.
yeah.
So I guess that makes sense. Like I'm
Yeah.
just thinking like mid high school when you like we're old enough to do cool things,
That's
but
true.
we're not old enough to have a job yet. Maybe.
Yeah, so that
It's,
you
like,
could still
somewhat-
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
When it all boils down, that's what I'm trying to
It's
say.
the good old times.
The good old times where you got to like for me, it was all about like just getting out with the guys and playing soccer at York Township Park kind of deal. Like
that
was my
ultimate
thing.
Frisbee.
Yeah. It was like all those fun times, and you were like maybe old enough to drive, so you like went to Chipotle for lunch on like a half day
and
after
that
school.
was the highlight.
Oh yeah, that was the best.
Like
it was
you
like,
were soaring.
School's out for summer. This is gonna turn into a musical podcast.
Heck yeah!
Tune in next time for our rendition of I don't even know a High School Musical song.
We could do The Boys Are Back.
Boys Are Back.
Boys are back. Yeah, like maybe like the dancing scene, like the tires.
Yeah.
Bro, I thought that was it. I was like, if my best friend and I do that, we're like,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, when we starting?
I don't know.
Choreography class?
Maybe. I mean,
Silo, who is a good dancer? Oh, we know who's a good dancer.
Yeah, we know who's good dancers. We got the Fusion Dance Company.
Oh, true.
We got Nicole. We got Victoria Hall. Literally have all these teachers.
Kavad.
Yeah. Like all these teachers.
Okay, so we'll hit you up, but if you are listening now and want to sponsor this podcast, and we'll dance on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll dance for a cookie.
From the cookie jar, where we don't know where it is.
Yeah, if you can find it.
Yeah.
That's...
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So, like, I guess if we're talking, like, in the past where like the glory days, like did you do everything that you wanted to do in those glory days? Is now, like, if we're talking now as the glory days, like, are you gonna regret that you didn't do something now? Like, what haven't you done right now that you would want to do right now? Like, if the world ended.
Jeez,
that's a good question.
That is a really good question. There's also like a song, isn't that? If the world was ending, you come over, right?
I don't know, maybe.
Like
I'm not literate.
Oh, okay.
Period. That's all it is. Like, hard stop. I'm not literate.
Dash.
But for real.
Dang. So I guess like I was literally thinking about it as we were getting ready for this podcast, like the good old days. Like we don't even ever recognize it until we've gone past it. Yeah. Like the good old days.
Is a hindsight thing.
Yeah, it's more of like, oh shoot, like good old days. That's happened. And we wish we did this more in the good old days, but it's crazy. It's just crazy to think about. But to answer your question and to not avoid it with like a
don't avoid
deflection of a psychological, metaphorical person that I am. Defense mechanism. Say what? But I think if there was something that I would want to do, so if the world ended, let's go like tomorrow. Yeah. At 11:59 p.m. Yeah. Where like typically all college papers are due.
The world ends on turnitin.com.
Exactly.
At 11:59 p.m.
Exactly. And I mean, if you're not reaching that mark, I'm sorry, but would you like bypass like the end? The world.
I would give them a corrupt file and say, "Oh, sorry, I gave them the wrong file," and then the world didn't end until I gave them the right file.
That works. Yeah, but if it ended tomorrow, 11:59, something that I would want to do. Dang. I definitely would want to like just travel. Like just get a bunch of my closest friends, get in a van, and just say, let's go to all the places that we wish we would have seen and just see them and spend time together, like play music, like eat food. Doesn't matter if it's the most expensive food or if it's the cheapest like grocery store food, and just see the things that we wish we would have seen earlier. Like that would be so cool.
Would you commit crimes?
I don't know. I don't think I would. I don't think there's a bone in my body.
This is the purge.
Like in my body that would be like, you know what? World's ending tomorrow. Well, I'm going to go kill it.
Does everyone know the world is ending? I guess is a better question, because if you were the only one that knew, would you try to get away with like just stealing food from a grocery store? Because maybe you don't have enough money to.
It's like a dystopian book right there.
That's what I'm saying. But like, would you like? I don't have $10,000 to buy a Lamborghini, but would I just go to a Lamborghini store and drive it around?
Yeah. I don't know. For like me personally, I've never been physical things. Like, I try to live as minimally as possible, and like imagining myself driving, I could not. Partially because I wouldn't know how to drive the thing, and I would probably cause more damage and probably end up in the hospital. And who would want to spend in the hospital the last couple hours? So I think for me, I don't know. I would probably get a credit card because I don't have one and spend it all on getting like a Volkswagen bus because, debt won't matter when the world ends.
So is it like stealing though?
Is it though?
It's like future stealing.
That's true.
Because if you're not paying it back, then
that's true.
I don't know.
But like, wouldn't we all be stealing because we have student loans?
Let's talk about the system, huh?
Flashback, couple episodes where we just got so upset with this.
That was Gavin got fired up episode.
Bro, flashback, we'll bring that back.
Oh man,
but like it's true though. Like,
would you go like skydiving? Are you a skydiving person?
No,
I feel like
I haven't skydived. I would want to.
I know you haven't been, but
I think I would want to skydive with you.
Okay.
Like you'd be like,
you're the expert. Strapped to your back.
You're the expert.
I'd be like, dude, don't worry about a thing.
Yeah,
the world's gonna end tomorrow.
Much fun.
And I just don't pull a parachute.
Yeah, I mean, like, why not? It would be more of like a handkerchief like parachute.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we
just don't pull the parachute. That's how we want to go out.
Well,
me strapped to your back.
The silo ride and die.
Yeah, we would have the silo flag flapping behind.
Bro, it would be our last minute, like, join the creative community.
That gives me major SpongeBob the movie episode vibes where Patrick is flying. He has like, I think it was like a handkerchief, and Patrick's flying into some Krusty Krab celebration, and he's butt naked, and he has a little flag on his butt, in his butt cheeks, and it says something.
Bro,
it's like, congratulations, SpongeBob. He got like hired, or he got like promoted or something, but with the silo flag.
I think it would be cool.
Okay.
So then the people would know, like, hey, those silo guys, they were creative to the last minute.
To the very last minute.
To the very last minute.
The very last minute.
That would be amazing. But dang, so if that's a great question, because like if we're living in the good old times, like if we're living and experiencing it now, like moving forward, like what would we want to be remembered by? Like what would we want that legacy to be?
So if I died in a parachute, no clothes, with a silo banner on my butt cheeks,
like that would be what you'd be remembered by.
Yeah.
You would just be that guy that was creatively insane and died.
Insane is a good word for what that would look like.
But like it's a real
it's like a legacy question.
It is a legacy question.
Do that, and it's hard hitting. Like, have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, like we're relatively young, so it's not something.
It's not something that you like immediately think about when you're like, oh, what do I want my like grandkids to think of me? And like I'm like in the like, especially in I know we keep going back to high school, but like you're not thinking about anything past high school when you're in high school. I feel like you're like in it. I'm like in the depths. I'm worried about what everyone thinks of me, but like not in the future sense, in like the now sense. So like for me, like what would I want my like grandkids or legacy to look like? And it's just like I don't want it to be boring. I want to make sure that my life is like filled with stuff. I mean, I've already been skydiving. I would go again in a heartbeat. Like I want to make sure that I'm not regretting stuff, because this is because I think I do realize that like my 20s are my glory days, and I'm gonna look back on them my entire life. So I don't want it to be full of office job like all the time. Like office job is a means of living life to the fullest, and it's financially supports my decisions of traveling the world and stuff like that. Go ahead.
Especially like just a small tangent. I don't want to interrupt you, but it's just especially with the way that our structured society is. As a lot of times, like once you graduate high school, this will happen. Like once you graduate college, then you can go and you have to get a job. So you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And so then when we are finished our 20s, and I think it's almost that weird feeling. Like people always will say like, you're going to live your life in your 20s and your 30s. But there's always still that nagging feeling like you have to get a job that's going to pay for everything. Got to pay the bills, got to get an apartment, eventually get this, get that, get that. And then when we are finished with all that, when we retire, that's when we want to do things. But we're such at an old age that we can't necessarily do all the things that we imagine that we do. So it's like society and like the constructs around us are like, no, this is how you live your life. But then if we really want to live our lives, we kind of have to break that mold and actually live the good old days and feel like we're living them. But there's always that like,
Yeah. I mean, it looks all different for different people too. Like, you know, some people are like, oh, I need to, you know, be out and partying every night. Yeah. Maybe that's, you know, a little bit of society as well. But maybe like they're convinced that like, I want to be out there doing all these crazy things. And that's their version of crazy things. While my crazy things is jumping out of a plane. Yeah. You know, and
with the style of flag in your butt cheeks.
Oh, yes, of course. Thanks for reminding me.
I had to.
But like, it's a different experience for everyone. Like the good old days is different for everyone. Yeah. And I think that's the cool part about it. Yeah. Like, I don't like, what do you want your legacy to look like?
Dang.
Big sigh there.
I know, right? It's the legacy thing is always like for the longest time, one of my greatest fears was to die and nobody ever to remember like what happened. Okay. Like what happened in my life, like what occurred, because one, I think that spewed from like, I want to be remembered in this way or in this way, in this way. And then now coming out of that and through a lot of life experiences over the past couple of years, and you know some of them, it's just been like the biggest thing that I want to be remembered by is how I loved people. Yeah. And then loving people through the experiences and things that I've done. Like, I don't necessarily have to go out and do this insane thing if I'm not, like, I can do that, but if I'm not loving people and not caring for people and showing my like kids and my children's children like a healthy environment, a safe environment, how to be gentle, how to be loving, how to be giving.
It's like breaking those it's like breaking those generational curses and all those things that you've learned, like, hey, my parents did this and it didn't bode well for me, so I'm gonna change that for the future. Exactly. And like, I think me too, like relationship building.
Exactly, man. Like, because I want to do all of those things. There's things that like I have a list, like, oh, I wish I could go see the Grand Canyon or go see Niagara Falls, like see these beautiful like masterpieces, like see whales jump out of the ocean, like go to biggest dream of all time has been to go to like Iceland, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, like
knew you were going there.
like down, like that is my like the dream that I would cry being there, because it's just that movie has been such a big impact. But like those things are amazing and I would love to tell those stories. But if I have nobody to tell them to, then my legacy is not important. Right. Because if I burn so many people that I don't have kids or I don't have relationships with my family, then like I will just sit there with all the amazing things that I've done with nobody to tell them to. And that's not something that I want to live for.
Shout out Secret Life of Walter Mitty for that.
Bro. That movie
that tackles hard stuff.
Sent me. Yeah, I've cried so many times watching that movie because it's so true. It's like it's basically what we're talking about today. It's like we live our lives going through the day to day, remembering the good old days, but in all reality, like we're losing out on the relationships, losing out on the experiences and the times, the opportunities, because we're either fearful, we're put in a construct, or the system has beat us to a pulp. But we got to take that first step by just being like, yo, these are my people that are around me. Best thing I can do is just love them and then move forward with that. Because some of the greatest people in this world were not billionaires.
Right.
And
I agree.
They were some of the sweetest, kindest people. People that went against government, went against society, died for people. Like, that's the people that have a legacy, not how much money you have. It's like people would be like, oh, this guy has like $20 billion and 14 million cars and
wasn't happy.
And he wasn't happy. And he died. And the only thing that we can remember by is by a statistic, not by anything else.
Yeah. And like, who cares about the number next to your name?
No, nobody. Like, you could be in debt and you still had a major impact on somebody's life. And that's so much more than how much money you had. Yeah. It's insane. It's insane.
I was gonna say, like, it's one of those things, and I don't have a tattoo yet. This guy has, however many. What's the number? 17.
I think it's like 9 or 10 right now.
But like
17, that's the new goal.
Yeah, it's 17. There you go.
17 by next podcast.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Kid Carol needs your help.
I don't have that money.
No, but I was gonna say I'm not a huge tattoo guy, but I want my first one to be meaningful. I want all of them to be meaningful.
Yeah, man.
But like the first one I want to get is something that says like, "How you know if you never try." Like that's something that that you live by. Like how you know what that life experience looks like until you do it. Yeah. Then you can decide like if it's not a fit for you, or or it hurt you, or whatever. But you don't know. You can hear other people's opinions of it, but until you do it yourself, you'll never understand it in a complete way.
Yeah, and I think that's like where regret comes in. Because if we never try or we never attempt at something,
that's what I'm so scared of. I'm so scared of regretting my 20s.
Dang,
and I don't want that to happen like at all.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you.
like we talked about before, like our bodies are in the best shape they're gonna be.
Yeah,
like it's only down from here. Like it's like very true though.
Yeah,
like, I want to like I'm gonna be the fittest I've ever been right now. Or like if I work out, maybe I'd be a little bit fitter. But
we were just talking about before the podcast.
Yeah, we're talking about weight fluctuations before the podcast. We're just like we both just sit all day and it's a lot.
It's great.
But so regrets. No, but like speaking of like then legacy, like what is Silo? Let's like bring this full circle now. What is Silo's like? What do we want Silo's legacy to look like then?
Yeah, because like we have our personal legacies and things that we want to be remembered by.
But we like, also want to tie those values into Silo, right?
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, Silo. If you know us at all personally, or if this is like the first time, your first exposure to us, like Silo, I'm gonna say it honestly, is who I think we are as people. Like we try to make it as authentic and real as possible. I know that there's some things that there's personal and stuff that we put boundaries on, and we've talked about in other episodes. But like Silo has become just an extension of what we've been doing.
I think, sorry, I cut you off.
I
was going to say, like, Rhonda from Inspired Business Community literally showed us that. Yeah. I don't think I've, like, fully realized that until she's like, okay, so we're going to do these exercises. I think we talked about this maybe in the past podcast, but she ran us through all these exercises, and she's like, okay, so here's where your values are. Yeah. And then she ran us through more exercises about Silo. Here's where Silo's values are. Are you seeing that these overlap right now?
Yeah.
And I'm like...
It's crazy. It like makes you really stop and think.
Like you want to build something that is you. Yeah. And I think she's pointed at like we do stuff and things happen and we're just like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But like she's like, listen, you married the two values together.
And for some reason that's like unheard of.
Yeah.
Like businesses and people will try to curate and get and build their business and build more profit or just build their brand. And I think what we find out with the conversation is more people experience burnout if it's not something that they love and enjoy. And that's something that like talking with Rhonda and just what we talked about before this podcast as well, it was just Silo has been just us. Like when we were going through something or when it's been a rough season, like if shout out to like way back. Like way back when we first started the Facebook page, like we were posting like 24/7.
Oh, dude,
every
day.
It was like for months, and then we took 6 months off, like not knowing if we're gonna continue, if we're gonna stay up with doing Silo, like if it was even something that we were dreaming of doing, and we took 6 months off, and that we were open, we were honest about it. We came back, and like it's just been extension and being authentic and real on that. And it's something, it's just crazy. It's so cool seeing how 3 years ago, how different, but also very similar Silo is. Like the mission, the values, who we were and who we are now. Their things have changed and our words have changed and we've gotten older and more mature. Like Silo at the forefront has remained the same. And I think that's just a testimony to what Rhonda was speaking into us. It was just like, it's because your values, your core values have stayed the same.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's because of Silo, like, and some other things and what you guys believe and who you're around and all that kind of comes in together. But because you have such strong values, like it's remained the same. And that it's like,
Literally, like, it doesn't occur to us until people tell us things, and we're like, oh, that's a good reminder.
Oh, I didn't even know this was happening.
Seriously, though. And, like, I think that's, you said, a testimony to our values staying the same. But I think one thing that we've always tried to keep, like, very stable was, like, honesty and, like, just openness. Like, we're not afraid to say, hey, we're burnt out. We're not going to be posting this week. You can suck it up because we care about ourselves. And that's not, like, on you.
No.
That's literally, like, we're telling you so that you know to not expect things from us.
Exactly. And we hope that with that authenticity and that real side of us, that you can hopefully learn that it's okay to do that for yourself. Because it's scary. Like, worrying about the algorithm, worrying about all of those things. Like, if your business is going to take a hit. And we've felt that. Like, there's times where we've taken a week or two off and, like, it's hurt. But it's hurt because, like, we've all this momentum and then it goes down. But we've become so better. And then, in fact, we come back stronger and things are built more. Like, we're talking, like, when we have in-person meetings, things just excel way more.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're so used to being online. And then we're like, you know what? Let's just take a break. Let's relax. In person, recharge, recalibrate. And then things come way back, like, way better.
We literally had, like a 4-hour, like, chunk scheduled before this to, like, grind out, like, our summer plans. Right? And I was like, listen, we're 3 hours into this and it felt like 30 minutes.
It's crazy.
Like, we got all this stuff done. And it feels like it's been a whole, like, 30 minutes. Like, we just casually chatted. But insane. Let alone silo plans for the next 3 months have been figured out.
Refillism is a zero-waste refill shop in downtown York, PA. Where you could basically, if you look on the table, you can take one of these bottles, take it downtown, be like, yo, what's up?
Downtown.
Got friendly household and beauty products. But not only that, they got eco-friendly stuff. I mean, you want some, like, lunch tins, or you want this lovely brush, which is used for two things. Hairbrush and probably dishes.
Oh, this is a dish thing? You can tell I don't do tons of dishes, right?
And it's zero waste, everyday essentials. But guys, let's get real with you. You probably have heard the past couple of episodes. We're talking about Liz. We're talking about Refillism. You're like, guys.
Elizabeth,
I know.
We have a pet name.
Forgive me.
It's kind of what we call her.
Forgive me, Elizabeth. But she's an absolutely amazing human being. She's basically adopted us.
Seriously,
we are her children. And that is not just because we're doing stuff with her for York, but she's like, yo, homie, I love you. Yo,
seriously,
homie, I love you. And we're like,
but we love you too. She is one of the most genuine human beings that you'll ever meet. She genuinely loves York area. She loves the earth. That's why she's part of this amazing business called Refillism. She's our mom. Literally just our mom. So, like, obviously she's forcing us to do dishes. Which I'm just getting into now, obviously.
Or a hairbrush. You never know.
Yeah. But, like, the cool thing, I keep saying it every time, but it's just like, listen, you don't have to pay as much as you think you do for these, you know, like, you know how, like, salad is now, like, $50 for salad when I can get a hamburger.
Just green hair lettuce.
Yeah, when I can get, like, a hamburger for $1 from McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's not the same because, like, think about it this way, okay?
Go for it.
Let me lay down the law.
Oh, he's laying down the law.
I'm laying down the law.
Listen,
so you can go to the movie theaters, right?
Yeah.
And you get those big popcorn tins.
Yeah. Star Wars tins?
Star Wars, specifically.
Okay.
Specifically. I actually only have the refillable cups. I have them for the last 3 sequel
So you're not
trilogy.
to that, like, level yet.
I'm not to a full ultimate collector's level yet.
Okay.
But, like, so for those, you can go and buy it outright first, and maybe it's, like, you know, a normal price kind of thing. But then afterwards, it's, you know, like half price or, like, even, like, a quarter of the price to keep refilling it every other time you go that year. Well, it's the same thing here.
Yeah.
Like, you're not paying for popcorn. You're paying for things that you use on a normal day-to-day basis. You get shampoo, like, teeth pellets, and all that kind of stuff. Like, household things that you're going to have to buy anyway. Like, if you live by yourself, you're paying for these things.
Yeah.
So why not pay less for them over time by just refilling the contents of the containers rather than paying for the plastics of the containers every time you go.
Exactly.
Like, to me, like,
and they smell good.
She's completely changed my mindset of like how that like happens,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to be paying for 7 plastic containers that are just going to go in landfills and not degrade for hundreds of years when I can literally just get like one of these spray things, like multi-use, like hair lotion, and
it's like nice and
you don't have to pay for glass 7 times like a month.
No.
You pay for it once,
and
then you go back into her store. You just pump and pay by the ounce.
Exactly. And if you have your own stuff, you can bring that in and still pay by the ounce.
Yeah, yes. You're not even tied to her.
No.
She's just giving you a better way of doing daily things, which I think is super cool. And like, that's just like, it's just real. Like,
it is. And she's very, like, we'll continue to say, she's one of the most genuine human beings ever. And her family's super cool. Best way you can identify who Elizabeth is when you walk into the store is her glasses.
Yes.
Bro, her glasses.
The glasses, every
amazing.
time, it's like a different pair sometimes.
Straight up.
You know, you got those little like flares on them.
Oh my,
like
so
seriously,
good.
Elizabeth, when you're listening to this, you know we talk about them, but now we're talking about them to everyone.
Exactly. And you're probably wondering like, where, guys, you're like talking about how amazing she is, like how amazing it is for the earth and York. Like, where do I find this person? Well, go to downtown York. There's this, South Beaver Street, 38 South Beaver Street. There's a store there. Has amazing like white signs. Says Refillism in the window. You look in, and you're like, it's amazing.
Yeah, if you're not going there for like her products, at least go to see like what glasses she's wearing each day, because that's enough of a surprise.
And make sure to be like, yo, I love your glasses.
And yo, Silo sent me here. Because that'd be cool to hear from her.
Exactly.
Like how many people we can get to come to her store and storm it and buy all of her things.
Exactly.
So
just
let's get her out of business by buying all of her things that she doesn't have enough supply.
Exactly.
To keep going.
Exactly.
So see you at Refillism, 38 South Beaver Street.
Do it.
See you soon. Oh, that's a threat. You won't be there.
You won't.
We won't. We won't see you there.
If you're not there, I guess
you're not cool.
Guess you're not cool. Guess you're not joining the Saving the Earth movement.
Guess you don't care about the earth.
Wow.
Seriously?
Wow. Our legacy, man. It's crazy to ask that question.
Yeah, like
where do
we
want to be? Because I think we get so caught up in the now that we forget to be. And then we worry about the to be that we forget about the now.
I think I've had this issue in some of these meetings that I've been a part of, where you get so stuck in the motion of just doing the same thing and you default back to the easiest thing rather than making time. Like, hey, this day we're not doing any of this like normal stuff. We're going to sit and make time for the future and figure out how we can innovate and do different things. And a lot of times that hasn't happened in a lot of the settings that I've been a part of. We're stuck in the same rhythms. And sometimes it's not a bad thing, but like other times it's like, yo, like we can innovate if we just took the time to do so.
Yeah, like actually sat down.
And I feel like what we do well, sorry, this is a little side note, but what we do well is like we like text back and forth every day, but it's like a lot of people ask like, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know what to do.
It just comes naturally.
Yeah,
we're like really good friends.
But other times it's like, okay, this could be solved in like a 5-minute call. Like way faster. Like in corporate America, you're like, this didn't have to be a meeting. Or like that kind of stuff. Like reverse of that, I guess. But I see our in-person meetings as like, okay, we cleared a 4-hour space. Let's dream a little bit.
Exactly.
And I think in the last like 2 or 3 like in person like chunks of time, we've dreamed and amazing things have occurred.
Speaking of which, so we one of like I think it was like our second or third one of this year at least. We like got together and we were thinking about this was like pre-steps into, i.e. the website, say what, and some future events that we were thinking of, dreams that we were having of things moving forward, because it's something that I think what we talked about earlier is we never expected where we're at now. Like it was kind of just like, let's just see where this goes. and trust and know that whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and it's going to be for a reason.
Yeah.
And then now where we're at now, and things are still going and things are still growing. The community is thriving. It's amazing to see. And we started thinking of these like big ideas, like what would look like. And we were going through stuff, working through stuff, and it wasn't until like the very end.
It was it was like literally like
this is it. Like, this is insane. And one of our dreams, and I think there'll probably either have been a post or a post that'll come out about it, is we thought about this like building, like this space, like for creatives. And it's just been mind blowing that it just like it came. And we're thinking about it.
Just like, that's it.
That
right there.
Write it down.
Write it down. Write it down.
Write that down. Shout out Helen, who always is like, Gavin, write that down. But like this space of creatives feeling that they can just come into a space, not necessarily having to feel that they have to like fish out all of their money that they've earned, but their contribution to the space is them as an artist.
And I think how we made that happen, right, is like, listen, I don't know if we want to go into all these details, but I think, the posters will already be out, like how we shared it. But like, sorry, we just want to share this stuff because like, we want this to be out there. Yeah. Like, we dreamt it and now it's out there. Yeah. And, like if some angel investor happened to be listening, hey,
shout
this
out.
Is what we want to know. But like, it's like one of those things where we want to share what the dreams are with you. Like, the whole point is that, you want to get behind something. Let's make it something that's memorable and good.
Like the good old days, like our legacy.
Yeah.
Like, and it's something that we're hoping that as creatives, the biggest thing is we want to continue to foster the community that we've continually to create with events like the South Slams, the spring, summer, fall captures, like those kind of environments where you can just come, be your creative self, and feel the not necessarily the need to create, but just the want to create, and not having that obligation to feel those things. And so we're like, how can we interpret that into a space? How can we envision that into a space? And this idea just like boom. And we started thinking about it, and pieces started coming together. Like, imagine like a creative co-working space that's not defined by like the money that you put into it or how big or how mighty that you are. But you just come and like live with creatives. You create with creatives. Feel like you're safe, you're accepted, and then your only contribution to the space is who you are. You leave a space, leave a memory. That's your legacy. And then you can come back and then you'll be like, oh, like this is so cool. This person took it this way. This person took it this way. Like a community that's continuously building themselves up rather than being like, hey, you have to do this, you have to do that in order to be a part of this community.
Yeah, rent's due. Like, no.
Yeah, like
the rent is you being there and participating in something that's bigger than yourself.
And like it's contributing like, hey, I have this desk that I painted. Great. Yeah. Like stuff like that.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest aspects of like what we dreamed about was like you can bring as much as you want into the space. Like think of it as like you have a desk. Like that is your like real estate in this area. Like we would have a desk. Like, there'd be a photo studio. There'd be like a recording like area. And it would all come together in that like everything is like free use for anyone that wants to. You just book the space for that time kind of deal, so you don't overlap. But like you have this desk, and I'm a painter. Well, yeah, I painted this whole desk, and it looks rad as heck. I'm gonna use this. I have a little like ceramic frog on my desk or whatever.
Shout out ceramic frog.
And that's the rent that you pay.
Yeah.
Like, your creative space is like the whole thing is that it's a blank canvas for everyone.
Yeah.
Like you come in and you paint like metaphorically paint your area in the way that you want it to.
Yeah.
And that you see so many different cultures meld together all of a sudden in one spot. And it's just like white walls. It's just like gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. And like we're excited about it, and things like that we've been able to dream up about and to process and to work through. And like this year alone, thinking of ideas like future events, like our website. Shout out to Andrew Greer, who's been putting work upon work into this website and making it amazing. And not only that, but allowing for us to also step into it, to work into it, and to step into that relationship has been super cool. And we're still like trying to figure out where we want to do it. So be on the lookout for maybe release. And stuff like that. Like we have another summer capture coming up. Like the slams are back up again. Ideas about like what would a silo brand look like? How can we explore that? How can we tell stories of the creatives? Because we're two dudes that are thinking of all these ideas, but the community is what makes Silo.
Yeah.
Like
it's the relationships, because we can't do it alone. We can't build a website and host events and blah 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 and blah blah blah. This is why we shout out Rhonda. Because we would never explore the depths of our minds without her. We wouldn't like explore the depths of the website world without Andrew. And so many other people that we've gave credit to in the past podcasts. Like
the people that are like behind the scenes in our personal lives, loving and supporting us, giving us the care. I mean, like it's not, you see like these two guys on a podcast talking about their legacy and talking about the future, talking about Silo, but
we're only here because two people hyped us up.
Like people behind us, it's the people around us, it's the people that are like, yo, like this is good, this is great, like do this, don't do this. Like that's what community should look like and what should be experienced. And we hope that when we're old and gray, like Silo continues. Like we're not the guys running it anymore. Like we're like the grandfathers of Silo, and there's or maybe our children's children are taking it, or somebody else is taking it. Like that's the excitement of it. Is community doesn't have to be a hierarchy. It doesn't have to be a government placed system. Like it could literally just be people loving, caring for each other, and uplifting the arts. Like who wouldn't want to be a part of that?
Seriously, like, it's just like such a local thing that can grow outwards. Like we're not about like this big thing getting smaller. It's about like this localized part of Pennsylvania being so passionate about something that we want to spread the word about it.
Exactly. And that's what we were talking about earlier. And our legacies has always been to experience, to love, to care, to build those relationships. And we hope that coincides with what you guys experience, what you guys feel when you walk into a Silo event. And we want to know those things. Like, hey, is this something that you're experiencing? Because we love you guys. Like, we honestly love the community. It doesn't matter where you're at, where you've gone, if you come in and out. Like, community is supposed to love and uplift each other. Also to be there to be like, hey, call you out on something. And we've had our fair share of that. But it's something that we're just like, like this is... It's like people like Refillism. Like Elizabeth. I always call her Liz. I'm so sorry. I'm going to keep on saying that. It's just something that's like one of those things you get in your brain. And you're just like, I'm going to keep on saying this, but it's wrong. But people like Elizabeth, like Molly, like Rhonda, like people like Donovan, Jay, like people that just have uplifted and encouraged this community over and over and over again.
And fought for us too. Like there's been times where forces outside of even like our control of things, and because of their influence or their pull on things, have been able to like fight that off, where if it got to us, we wouldn't have been able to do anything.
And it's insane. It's insane. It's insane. And so we kind of hope that like, as you're listening to this, I know it's not necessarily super like deep or something that you can tangibly glean from, but we hope that you can at least realize that sometimes when you go and you have these visions and these ideas, it's important, one, to have a community. Because if you don't have a community to continue to encourage, to call you out, to support, to defend, then it's going to be 10 times more difficult. But two, to feel inspired that maybe the legacy that you've been trying to set in stone or try to lay out is something that you can continue to pursue if you're having those doubts, if you're having those worries. And then 3, make sure that the things that you're wanting to do are things that you're actually doing. Because I think we can talk about it, and you can listen to it, and you can take these next steps and write it out and do it. But if you're never like, you close that book and it becomes dusty, then you're going to regret it. You're not going to have the legacy that you wish you had when you're telling your kids, like the good old days. You'll be like, oh, I wish I did that. But if you actually lay it out and you're like, no, I'm going to do that. Surround yourself with a community. Give yourself that encouragement. Then things will happen. And it might not look perfect. It might not be the best. I mean, Silo, like, it looks on the forefront like, oh, this is amazing. We've gone through, like, crazy stuff. We've dealt with people that were like, like, wish this could have gone better. But it in the forefront, where you're at now is tenfold. It's going to become tenfold later. And so you just got to curate it how you want it.
Yeah. It's that community that holds you accountable.
Yeah.
If you're willing to share those things too.
That's true.
Like, we're sharing the dream with you.
Yeah.
Now hold us accountable that in however many years it takes that we do that thing. Yeah. And you know, it might change and look different, but hey, we're sharing like our lives with you. Yeah. So hold us accountable to what we want to do, and don't say it's too small or too big. Yeah. It's something that's possible if we put our minds to it. If you help us in any way, encouragement, like what we said, like encouragement for the people that love us most, that propels us forward. Yeah. And you know,
something to live by.
Yeah. And it's just that accountability of like, listen, like if you're able to be vulnerable enough to bring that out into the real world and allow people to say, oh, that's Silo community. Yeah, they're never going to get that co-working space that they want to do. They're going to have those people. Yeah. Well, guess what? You're also going to have those people that are going to be like, okay, where can I give money? And it's not even about that, but like, you know, that's the kind of like spectrum of people there is. It's like, it's not happening. Yeah. Go do your own thing, buddo. And then there's the people that are like, yo, okay, where can I like sew into you? Yeah. And you know, then there's just the encouragers, and they're not any like more or less than anyone. Exactly. And I think it's just important. It's important to think about these things and to process, to work through these things. Because something that I was told, continue to be reminded by, is like you're always working for something greater than you know. And it could be some of the simplest things, like just having a genuine conversation with somebody. Like, who knows the impact that you'll have on them? Who knows the reoccurring impact? Like, just making somebody's, like, it's something that, like, growing up in high school, it's always those cheesy videos, like this smile impact this, but it's so true. Like, there's stories that, like, shout out to Genesis. Like, she started Just Genesis shop. And that was because she felt inspired to start something just like we started something. And now it's flourishing. Like, it's stuff that you just got to really think about. Like, the things that you're doing now and the things that you're not doing now are for something that is greater than you know. Yeah. Greater than you know. Then putting that mindset, not something to get overwhelmed by or to think that you're not doing anything, you're not doing it enough or this and that. No, it's just something to have a peace about and a contentment that, like, okay, like what I'm doing and what I can do and what I can work towards is for something greater. And it could be, okay, business in 5 years, or it could be this person laughing, or it could be simply like, you know, I'm just chilling. And that's something greater, because if you didn't chill that day, you could be burned out in a week. Like, it's something to continue to remind yourself of, something that I have to continue to remind myself of. Yeah. Because I'm like, oh, like, this sucks. And I'm like, oh, no, it's meant for something greater. And continuing to put that fat foot forward. Man, that was a lot of F words. Not the wrong F words, but the right F words.
F words. Like, what? It's like Sally shells.
Sells seashells by the seashore?
Yeah, something like that. Like, it's just like, it's
fat feet, fart, fadoodle,
falling,
forward,
facing,
festivals.
Dang, I don't know what to say.
Ooh, you lost this one. All right, guys, we'll see ya. Have an easy, fun week. Have a good morning, yourself. Afternoon, evening. Make sure you drink plenty of water.
Eat food.
I didn't drink enough water today, and I'm feeling it.
I'm parched. And maybe your challenge should be, think of words that all start with the same letter and just keep on going.
Alliteration party.
Woo.
Peace.
Peace.
Dude, that might be our best one. I feel like that was real deep.
That was really good.
It was real deep for no reason.
We went really deep.